question the meeting, the reports, and certainly clarify any issues that attract your attention. You can see now we're actually recording this event, so this will help Alex in make some good minutes of the meeting, and also to make sure that we sort of meet the requirements as a not-for-profit organisation. Okay, so thank you. I'd like to first of all say thank you to our 10 committee members who provided such great support for the last year and a bit. We've had a few other committee members that have left during that time for a variety of reasons. Thank you also to those members who've made a great contribution to our committee, and hopefully you think we're going in the right direction. The purpose of this meeting I've explained. I have an opportunity now to pass to Alex, and she'll talk about apologies and what we're doing in terms of proxies. Mute, Alex.
Unmute. Oh, Joanna has just joined us.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Joanna.
How are you going? Oh,
So
hang on. Just trying to get my earphones in. There we go.
Okay, so we've just started, Johanna. Ian's just given his opening remarks, and I was just going to go to the apologies and proxies. I've had two email apologies, one from John Clark and one from Peter Phillipson. Peter Phillipson has provided a proxy. John Clark thought he was providing a proxy to Warwick, but Warwick isn't in attendance yet. Warwick and John were therefore going to provide their proxies to Doug, but I have not heard from either Warwick or John to say that. So at this point, unless
Warwick told me half an hour ago that he was going to send you an email proving that proxy, but if you don't need it, that's fine.
I do need it. I need something from Warwick. I can't accept
No,
from you that
if we've got the numbers.
Yeah.
I've seen a copy of the email and it was sent to you, but it probably just hasn't got there yet.
Well, it might have, but I'm not looking at my emails. Trying to run a meeting. Anyway, so we have a number of proxy votes, which Liz is going to be our returning officer and count the number of votes when we have matters to vote on. She's going to do that by using we'll ask you to use the raise hand option. So now where is that? I'm just going to look for it so that okay, so if you look, down the bottom of your screen, there'll be something called reactions. And one of the reaction options is raise hand. So when we come to vote on matters, okay, so Ian's just found it, and you can see he's got a thumbs up on his screen, as has Karen, as has John Delandro, except it's not a thumbs up. So I'd ask you to use the thumbs up button, and Chris and Liz are both waving. If you can just use it, it actually says raise hand. So if you can use that to indicate if you are against the motion. So if we have a motion to accept the financial report, we'll say all those in favour, then we'll say all those against. When we say all those against, if you are against the motion, if you can raise your hand. That means that Liz will have less votes to count, and hopefully that will make it quicker and more streamlined. Is there anyone who can't work out how they do the raise hand function?
Hang on, I'm a little bit confused.
People can just put
the raise hand there's a raised hand logo and there's a thumbs up logo. Are you saying
Not the-
use the thumbs up?
No,
not gonna
I'm
use the
saying
next
use
one.
the
Use
raise
thumbs up.
hand. Raise hand, as you would in a meeting, all in favour, right? You'd
Right,
raise your
that one.
hand. Okay,
Not the thumbs up. Righto. Okay, good.
okay.
And you click it again to lower it.
Yes, that's right. So you click raise hand to vote no, I do not support that motion. And then you click it again to remove the raise hand so we can go on to the next thing. Is there anybody who has an issue with working out how to do that?
Okay. That's great to have a bit of mental agility to start the meeting.
Okay, and we have 10 proxy votes, and they've been awarded or not awarded, but they've been given to a number of different people. I was just going to show that document so that you can see who's asked you to be a proxy. You just told them to keep with me 1 minute. One moment, please. Sorry. I had sent this to committee members earlier. Okay, has a document come up on my screen? When you
No.
Ross, do you have any advice?
Share screen, whatever you've got on your,
Just
whatever you've
push
got on
share screen.
your
Work.
screen, you press share screen, it should work.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll try that.
Hello.
Hey, Tim. Good to
Hey,
see you.
Sorry for arriving late.
It's all right.
Lockdown with a 6-year-old isn't a picnic.
No, it's good for you.
Um,
Okay, Alex, I think...
hold on, I'm just trying to work out how to do that.
You just put it on your screen and then tap share screen. Yep.
I can't see how to share screen. Share screen. Host disabled participant screen sharing. Ross. Can you enable that?
Yeah. Okay, Alex, I think we should move on.
No, this is important.
Alex, I've been doing a lot of share screening the last couple of days.
Yep.
It's just right in the middle next to chat.
You know, I
and-
pressed it. I pressed
Yep.
it. But
There you go.
Yeah,
You got it.
we're seeing Ross's share screen.
Oh,
Got it, I can see it.
maybe you can only share screen. I think the person holding the meeting maybe is the only one that can share screen.
okay. All right. Then I'm going to very quickly read out the proxies, because I think it's important, particularly if you are a proxy for somebody. So the proxies are Jill Farnsworth and Jessie Strange, proxy to Ian Farnsworth, Jess Graham, Dunya Alexander, Jackson Rampant, and Peter Phillipson, proxy to me, John Stanbury, proxy to John Delandro, Eileen Dickinson, proxy to Jennifer Gray, Jeff Belshaw, proxy to Ross Carroll, and John Clark and Warwick, still not clear. Okay. I'm finished, Ian.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda is the chairperson's report. Hopefully you've all seen a copy of that. It outlines basically what we've been up to and what we're aiming to do in all the key areas of what is essentially a project. So this is a project to build a world-class, publicly owned cultural centre on the Tomaree Peninsula with the Tomaree Museum at its core. Okay, so that vision, that mission has, I suppose, changed slightly over the last 18 months. It's become a little broader because we see the need to provide a community service above all with history, sustainability being the key themes of what we're trying to achieve. So everything we do, we're trying to organise in a systematic way to put in place frameworks such that everyone can contribute, put systems in place for collecting information so that there's not an onerous workload on individuals, and such that community can provide input into what we're setting up as catalogue management systems, websites, Facebook pages. We want to be part of the community. We want Port Stephens Council to own or manage the land that we eventually put our museum and our cultural centre on. We want interactions with art, culture groups, environmental groups, even performing art groups, because we see this is one of the best ways to promote history. And so we'll continue to broaden and respond to what the community wants. It's very important as we go ahead that everyone feels they can contribute and say what they want with our plans. So if you have ideas that will enable us to tap into your knowledge or other people's knowledge, or other associations form useful networks, we want to know about them. You can email me, you can email each of the 10 committee members who are all represented here today. And we want to establish excellent credentials, trust, be a responsible association that everyone says, yes, they're producing what we want in terms of history and culture for Port Stephens. The recent site selection issues that we've had in relation to Fly Point provide a really good test for the community to trust what we're doing, and we will continue to engage with everyone to make sure that we make the best decision in relation to those sorts of issues. So please give us your input. Make sure you write to us, attend meetings, and I'm so happy that you've turned up today. Some of our reports talk about our strategies looking ahead. Probably the next biggest thing that's going to be happening in the next few months is going to be, we're going to spend about $5,000 that AGL gave us for a pop-up museum display. We're hoping to try and mix that with some history presentations from historical authors. It may have some sort of art connection as well. And certainly we're looking for more money to make our annual event, just like we had a pop-up museum and an art competition exhibition last year. Our annual event should be something that people look forward to, and which really represents what we're going to do in the future when we get a really great world-class facility. Now, remember, we actually do have a museum already. We have a virtual museum. And thanks to good work from Ross and the rest of the team, we've got progressively quite a significant collection of historical items and connections to people and stuff that are really telling a story about Port Stephens, and people should get a feel for where we're going just from looking at a Facebook page, our website, and all the other activities that we organise throughout the year. So thank you to everyone that's made everything possible up to this point, this 18 months that we've been operating. and please keep up the enthusiasm. It's going to be a long haul, and we'll need all of your help, and we'll need to work with a lot of other associations to make this happen. Thank you. There's going to be an opportunity to ask questions about that a bit later on, but now I'd like to hand over to Jennifer, who's going to give the Treasurer's report. Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. I assume that everyone got the written report along with the breakdown, the spreadsheets, the breakdown of the income and expenditure, plus a little pre-lockdown budget that I put together. Maybe things have changed or will change in the future. Not sure how we're going to earn some money if things like the Bunnings barbecues aren't going to go ahead, but there you go. So I started off by saying that the financial year that we were just reporting on has been a year of increased activity by the committee, considering probably this time last year you weren't that active and I wasn't a member. But there was a healthy bank balance at June 30, 2021. We received 6 major grants totaling $29,000 during this last financial year. And we have 2 that aren't acquitted as yet. The DVA grant isn't totally acquitted, and we have the AGL grant, which Ian has just mentioned. We received substantial donations from various sources, totaling about $33,800. Special mention to Cattle Yard Brewing and to Ross for his association with them for a $2,000 donation to offset the art show expenses, and to Moonshadow Cruises for their $1,000 donation for our members actually having what looked like a very fun time, and I wished I could have attended. The association members have participated in 3 Bunnings barbecues. We've been able to use the facilities of the Nelson Bay Rotary Club, and we really need to thank them for that, because that is a huge saving in being able to just go there, get ready and get started. The barbecues have raised $3,308.75, plus we also received $72 donation from the community on those days. We provided a free barbecue for the open day at the Bob's Farm Hall, and through the generous donations of the members on the day, we were able to cover our expenses and make a huge profit of $41.82. So thank you. Our Heritage grant of $2,000 was spent by $80.52. So we had a little bit of a overspend. There's still $6,409 unspent in the DVA grant, and as I said before, we've got the AGL grant to go. The association had 149 members at the 30th of June, and at that date, 30 members were financial, excuse me, for that for the next year that we're in now. If all the remaining members renew their membership, then our projected income fees would be another $1,200. In fact, as of lunchtime, we only have 58 members that have chosen to renew, and including 9 members that have paid 10 years membership. So there hasn't been a great take up in our renewal offer as yet. So that's something we may need to work on. Chris Peters is constantly seeking out grants and writing grant applications to boost our future income. So thank you for that, Chris. Our expected costs for this year are our electricity accounts to the Bob's Farm Hall via the council. And that's going to range between $600 and $750, depending on how many times we're out there and use the lights, etc. And we do have $55 in memberships to the Port Stephens Eco Network and to the Tomaree Headland, is it Heritage Headland Group, or whichever way it goes. So that's a future expense. Our financial outcomes for 2021, the Port Stephens Vibrant Spaces grant allowed the museum to acquire pull-up information panels, which we'll be able to use for other future events, some other TMA signage and a TV. The Heritage Grant also allowed the association to purchase additional information pull-ups. During the art show, through commissions on the sale of artworks on display, we benefited by $2,587, and a big thanks, she's going to hate me for this, has to go to Alex, for the mammoth organisational effort before, during and after this event. She wanted me to delete that, probably in the naughty corner now. As the income and expenditure table shows on the spreadsheet, we relied heavily on grants and donations to help build the profile of the association and its collections. The committee was very active in executing the grants and financially supporting the TMA by volunteering their time for setups, for graphics, and for marketing and barbecuing skills. The association committee hoped to engage more members to experience some of these activities in the upcoming year. For the future engagement with the members and the community will raise the TMA profile in the local area. There'll be bigger emphasis on digital cataloguing, which will incur ongoing costs. The projected budget is heavily reliant on most members renewing their membership, so that hasn't quite come off as yet. Finding new members, participating in events like the Bunnings barbecues, and the success of any grant applications, especially to the potential to receive a concept study grant, which I believe is for $50,000. The purchase of an eHive to help electronic cataloguing of the association's collections will be a great aid to the museum, but does attract a cost for both training and hosting, which are the first three items on the expenditure side of the budget. The committee also hopes to improve the presentation of our displays through whatever expenditure we'll have to make for that. Bob's Farm Hall, as our storage area, incurs costs and improvements or repairs which have to be attended to, and these are noted in the budget. The success of the upcoming year depends on an active membership to help the museum grow and be substantial. So I just want to thank everyone for your support during the 2020-21 financial year. Thank you. Any questions?
That's great, Jennifer. So obviously in March last year, we were running on the smell of an oily rag and there was a lot of pressure on the organisation. We're in a much healthier position at the moment. I think we've got more than enough money to run for the next 2 or 3 years at our normal level of expenditure. And so this provides an opportunity to actually build our collection and our infrastructure. And with additional funding through grants, I think we'll be able to do some good stuff in the years ahead.
Yep.
Okay, we have, of course, had reports provided by the Secretary, Alex, Chris in his grants report, and Ross as the data manager report. Those reports have been tabled and we didn't intend to go through them. But certainly, if you've got any questions to the committee, now would be an excellent time to make those questions known, heard. Has anyone got any questions on the whole scope of work that we've been doing, and or suggestions that can help us in the path ahead? Tim.
I'm myself. Yeah, I just one quick thing, because I've been producing that PR report that's obviously rather long awaited now. I realise that, but the one thing that cropped up for me was is there any research in the way of a survey or any sort of Survey Monkey or any sort of paper-based survey of the population getting their opinions on our project?
We haven't done that, but I think it'd be a very useful activity.
Okay, yeah, that's really what I wanted. So as I complete the report, that's one of the recommendations. But I wanted to just double check it hasn't been done.
Tim, I can tell you that when we had the pop-up museum at Christmas time, Mary's intention was to run a survey.
Yeah.
We basically just, agree with me or not, Mary, but we just ran out of, we were too busy to.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to do, but I think you're probably, if you're only surveying people that are coming to the pop-up museum already, you're going to get slightly, well, biased results, I suppose. Biased in our favour, of course, but what I think would be really useful, and you can disagree with me, absolutely, I'm not an expert on this, but looking at it, to make our argument, I would have thought that it would be handy to be able to point to some body of data which showed incontrovertible, support, and from a council point of view, votes in what we're doing.
Yeah, certainly we document the support that's shown at every meeting, every council meeting, at every engagement with a stakeholder. But yeah, we're not counting numbers. So we've never really had a negative. It's really just discussion, if I can call it, on the way we're doing things and what should be priorities.
Yeah, and we're not providing it to the full community, Ian. It either goes on our website or it goes to our members. So as Tim points out, that's just, they're already a done deal. So I think it's an excellent idea.
Okay, well, I'll
Can I just say something, please?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I did put a Survey Monkey together, which I thought would be a good idea for our exhibition. And I suggested it go out to all members, not just the people who attended, because one of my questions was, if you didn't attend, why, and so forth. So I totally agree with you. We do need to get honest feedback from the committee, from the community. I put it forward a couple of times, but we were a bit stretched and there was kind of no appetite to do it at the time, so I dropped it. So
yeah,
if
no,
you
it's
could
fair
put
enough.
that in, because I think it's very important.
Okay, then I'll include that stuff in the document that I put together. Fair enough. Thank you. That's me done.
Can I contribute to that? Is there any way with the upcoming elections in December that we could ask the council to do some sort of survey of people while they're voting? I don't know.
We can certainly talk to the council in the meantime and see how they run their surveys. I suppose, Nigel, you'd have a fair idea of what, Nigel Waters, what sort of strategies the council uses to seek opinion like that?
Yes, the election is not an option because that's run by the Electoral Commission on a standard sort of formula. But you could approach council about using some of their community engagement techniques. They're currently doing a number of surveys, and they've got a place planning exercise that they've just started. So yeah, it'd be worth talking to them.
Okay, so we'll put.
Sorry, can I just say one of their place planning workshops that's coming up that they're inviting people to nominate to take part in is for Shoal Bay. So that would be an immediate opportunity for people to raise issues, for instance, about the future of the Tomaree Lodge site. But they're also doing place planning workshops for a number of other localities. So yeah, just go and talk to them.
Yeah, the other opportunity we have, you're probably aware from our report that we've got an interim museum running in the visitor centre at Nelson Bay. So that is an opportunity with council and volunteer staff there. We could provide a survey for people to provide input that would be useful for us. And certainly the website. The website and Facebook are obvious candidates.
Yeah, but once again, you're gaining approval from people who basically pre-approved, aren't you? So not necessarily going to tell us that much that we don't already know.
Okay, thank you for that, Tim. Any other questions on any topic really in relation to what we're doing and the reports that have been presented. Alex, if you're talking.
Greg Wilson has his hand up. Do you want to say something, Greg?
So,
he doesn't anymore.
right. Okay. All right. Well, I suppose what we're really saying is the door is open. It's a lot easier in a real format where everyone's sitting in a room to discuss things, and I understand it's difficult here. But really, we're meeting every month. Anyone is invited to come along to any meeting or to send us a communication of any sort. And certainly we want to be part of the other committees. We want to meet with Rotary, we want to meet with the other groups that are got common interests with us and see how we can work together to achieve our aim and also the aims of the other associations. So there's an invitation there for everyone. Okay, Alex, I think we've moved to special resolutions.
Yes. So on the agenda, there were 2 proposed resolutions that were distributed 3 weeks before the meeting because they are special resolutions according to our constitution and they require, advance notice, I guess. The first resolution is a rewrite of our constitution. So when we started in January, February last year, David Wilson and I think Tim, no, I've forgotten his last name. That's better.
Tim Mehug.
Mehug, yeah. They provided some input and David wrote a bit of a straw man constitution. Ian and I had some input, maybe some others did it as well. Anyway, it was our start point. It didn't directly address the way we have kind of steered in the following 18 months. So I've done a rewrite of it. It's been distributed. It was distributed 3 weeks ago. The committee had all seen it well before that. Does anyone have a question about the rewrite of the Constitution?
I've got one question in relation to DGR status. That's got nothing to do with the Constitution, has it?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay. Thank you.
So I would like to propose that the updated Constitution version 7 be approved by the meeting. Do I have a seconder? Chris has seconded that.
Yep.
And now all those in favour of the motion?
Don't you just want all those not in favour?
That's right. So I should have just said all those. Is anybody against the motion?
Take down their hands. Okay.
So just checking, nobody is against the motion to accept the updated version of the Constitution.
Doug's just put his hand up just to be difficult, I think. No, he's removed it now.
Okay, so that's approved. The second proposed resolution is the nomination of Life members, and Jennifer will address that.
Okay, the nominations for Life membership are for Athleen Carroll in recognition of the transfer of the Carroll Community Collection into our care, to Matthew Alley for access to the extensive Ray Alley photographic collection, to Jordan Alley, again, for access to the Ray Alley photograph collection, and to Arthur Renforth for access to the extensive Arthur Renforth photographic collection. I'd like to nominate these 4 people for Life membership. Is there a seconder?
Yes, yes, I'll second that.
So everyone, these have been wonderful donations,
Mm.
our association, and you'll see evidence of their generosity in all the displays and exhibitions we put on. And certainly I would like to encourage other donations, but this is a very simple recognition of how much we value this contribution to our activity. And it's certainly a donation to the community, because it's not just owned by the association, it's owned by all of Port Stephens. Thank you. All right, so they're the two special resolutions, Alex. And so now we're moving on to the acceptance of the financial statements. So do I hand over to Jennifer?
Okay, so we have the financial statements at the auditor, and we haven't received the audited statements back as yet. So what we're going to ask of you is to approve the proposed statements as shown to you, sent out by Alex several weeks ago. And I ask for your approval of those. If there's anything major that comes back from the auditor that is in any way going to affect the report in some disastrous way, then we will re-engage the people here to note what needs to be changed. But there doesn't seem to be any indication. I'm just guessing that the auditor is extremely busy. So could I propose that you accept the financial statements as distributed to you by Alex? So
We have a seconder. Nigel D.
Second. Is Nigel, are you seconding that motion? Yeah.
Okay, I'd now like to propose.
No, we haven't voted.
Oh yeah, okay, let's vote.
Is there anyone against the acceptance of the financial statements?
Is that you, Doug, or why is that yellow hand sticking up there? Good.
Okay, so all in favour. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to propose that membership accept the annual report as a fair record of our activities and our intent over the last year and a half. We have a seconder. Thank you, Chris. And do we have a vote, Alex?
Is anyone against the proposal to accept the annual report as an accurate reflection of what's gone on in the last year? Okay, all in favour.
Now, back to Jennifer. What can you tell us about appointment of an auditor for this coming year, Jennifer?
Well, I've discussed it with, or Alex discussed it with me. We propose that we still retain the same auditor that we have, that we used last year and that we're using this year. We're assuming that she will do it again. So it's Misty Reid from Buckley Richardson Partners. So I would ask if you could approve her appointment again this year.
Yeah, I don't think we need to vote on that. That's just our intention, and it may there may be some change. Who knows? She's doing it pro bono, so we're very grateful for her work so far.
So I propose that we send her a letter of recognition for the wonderful support to the organisation. Doing that for free is great.
Yep, that's a great idea.
All right, I'll do that.
Okay, now every AGM after we get going, we have half of the committee retire. This being the first AGM, no retirements are due, but the next AGM sometime next year, we'll see the retirement of a election of the 10 committee members. Can you tell us any more about that, Alex?
I was just going, so there's no requirement for us to renominate people for the committee positions. With the committee positions are all filled, and I was just going to advise the meeting of who is in which committee position, just as an information exercise. And I'm just trying to put that up on the screen.
You can't remember?
Well, Ross did a little change, so maybe I can.
The key thing is that certainly we're very happy with the great contribution made by the committee. We also love the fact that there are some very active members who are virtual committee members, and we encourage that sort of involvement in our activities. If you're unhappy with any committee member, including myself, I'm sure people will very happily step down and make way for junior, more active members or whatever. But I think we've got a great team at the moment, and certainly we're very appreciative of everyone who's doing their bit.
Okay, I think you should be able to see the committee appointments now. Is that right?
That's
Yes.
right.
Yeah. Okay.
I can see
So,
it.
all right. So that is the list of the committee appointments as they stand, and there you go.
How do
Just
you select,
advertise.
how do you select the half? Which committee members will stand down? How do you select them? And if no one volunteers, how do you select half of the committee and
The
whether they're gonna stand
Constitution.
down?
The Constitution and the regulations point to this, and they talk. The Constitution talks about half of the committee having to be up for re-nomination
And it
one
selects
year, and then the other half of the committee the next year. And the actual positions that are up for reappointment are listed in the regulations.
Okay, so what are the 6 positions or 5 positions for next year?
Can I refer you to the regulations, Doug?
Okay. All right.
I mean, I can look that up right now if you really want to know.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. If it's the first 5 or the last 5 or every second one, if it doesn't matter if you're not sure. We'll find out. Plenty of time to find out.
I don't believe that, for example, the chair and the secretary turn over at the same time.
Yeah.
But
I sort of hope that you can volunteer, that's all. But if you can't, if the regulations stipulate who they have to be, then say there.
That you can volunteer for what?
To stand down.
You can volunteer to stand down at any time.
you can stand down at any time. Doug.
That would be an easy way to do it, wouldn't it? Rather than anyway.
If somebody wants to, we've had 4 resignations from the committee in the last 18 months. If somebody wants to resign from the committee, they can do that at any time. And then what happens is we then fill that vacancy until the next AGM, right? And then it's confirmed at the AGM that person is in that position for the following 2 years, unless they resign or unless there's an uprising.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, I understood that already. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'll just ask, no, it doesn't matter. I'll ask the question a couple of months before the AGM.
I'll send you the highlighted bit in the regulations.
Okay, you'll all be very glad to know we've made it to the end of the meeting. So that's from what I can see, Alex, that's the formal part of the meeting complete. And
yeah, sorry, Ian, before you make your closing comments and we ask if there's any final questions, can I just make one statement? Often somebody will, who represents the TMA, will refer to the good work that the committee is doing. Our committee has 10 people, but there are about 20 people who do an exorbitant amount of work to keep the organisation going. So please don't, when Ian in particular refers to the committee, he actually means that broader group of people, of our active members who are doing so much to just keep things going, and to the creative input of Gabrielle, for example, and then the hard work of people like Susie Sturman, and people who turn up to the Bunnings barbecues time after time, people who volunteered at the pop-up. So there's a bigger group of people, and please don't feel that you're not being, and Karen, who gives me, keeps us on the straight and narrow.
Cassia.
And Cassia for all good work. I mean, I could go on, but I just want you to be aware that is the intent, that we're talking about that bigger group who are so closely associated with what we do and do the doing.
All right. So what I'd like to do now is just go around the room. If you can get rid of your committee appointments slide there, Ross, we can see everyone, and I can tick everyone off. But we'll start with, maybe we'll start with Pat Jenkins. Have you got any sort of observations, comments or advice for us? So mute.
No, it seems to be going very well. As I said, I'm fairly new to getting involved with you. You persuaded me to join when I came along to your museum show down at Bob's Farm. And I had a chat with you then. So I'm really catching up, and it's been an interesting meeting. So thank you.
Good. Maybe Mullet, have you got anything to say? No outgoing audio, right? Maybe. It's good to see your face anyway. Right? Greg Wilson, this is a good opportunity. Greg? Mute, you need to unmute. Bottom left, maybe?
Top.
Yeah, I can't unmute.
That's good. Is that working now, Greg? No, you still got a mute sign on your. There you go.
There you go.
Oh, well, one day I'd love to be more involved in what's happening, but at the present moment my emphasis has been on travelling, and that'll finish one day.
Yeah, well, hopefully
then things may
slow you down a bit.
Yes, well, right now I've been slowed up. Yes, so things will change. Don't worry. But thank you for leaving Little Carroll Park alone.
Yeah, well, those sort of discussions are very important to us. So understanding exactly the motivations and how that will guide things like foreshore management, because we want a foreshore site for the Tomaree Museum / Cultural Centre. I mean, it'd be ideal. We need to know what's fair game, what the community support. And so there's a big conversation there that's going to.
Yeah, and if you think about it,
have that without emotion.
Since 1400, the sea level's come up 2 metres. So what's going to happen in the next 100 years?
Yeah, so we can choose it a bit away from the.
What a good idea.
Stilts at least. Okay, that's great. Now, you mentioned travelling, and one of the suggestions I have, I mean, Alex and I are travelling at the moment to escape COVID, and everywhere you go, there's a museum.
Everywhere. Some towns have got 2.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much to learn, and I really, Chris Peters keeps a spreadsheet which basically documents all the good ideas we've got from all the different sites that we've been to. And I'd love other people to contribute to that and give us some ideas, because some of these things are just immediately applicable to Port Stephens. And I think it's a great way to get involvement of the whole member base, their input on what we want to build and how we're going to change our collection to tell our story.
Yeah, There's absolutely fabulous ideas out there, and I think all of us should be trying to include a museum visit on any trips we are able to do, which we obviously can't at the moment, but I've just heard some tremendous ideas in the last last 2 years from various museums, which we can take up and run with. And anything that's new and happening out there, we need to know. So if you can let us know if you have an encounter with a museum.
Yes. I think the most amazing one I've seen so far is a place called Walwa, which is a set up by a person, Indigenous person of their own, an Indigenous museum.
Wow.
Down on the Murray River. That stands out like a thumb.
Yep.
Anyway, we'll do.
And certainly if anyone's got a very good connection with Warramai, better than what we've got already, that would be a wonderful thing to work on. Certainly everyone's interested in that sort of information.
Yep.
Maybe David Wadham, Donald Wadham, have you got anything for us?
Nothing to add. I'd just like to congratulate the committee and the group on the work that they've done this year. I think it's very important to maintain that affiliation with the other organisations that have a strong interest in the progress of the town, for example, Rotary. And I know that from a Rotary point of view, well, it's the Rotary Club of Nelson Bay. There are 2 clubs in the Bay, as you are aware. But we're always interested in what is happening, and certainly we're interested in being involved in things where we believe we can assist. I endorse the comment about the rejection of Neil Carroll Rotary Park as a potential site for the museum, but whenever a suitable site is found, I'm sure that Rotary will give as much support as it possibly can to the progress of what's going to happen there. But congratulations to all. I think you've done a wonderful job, and just looking forward to future progress.
Thanks, Donald. And if you want us to come and present any information on what we're up to at Rotary, we'd be more than happy to do that.
Yeah, we've had John and Warwick, of course, as a co-member of Rotary and the museum group. So we do have that association, but we're more than happy to have guest speakers come along and tell us about particular aspects of what's happening at a particular time.
Okay, and of course the same applies to Eco Network, U3A, TRRA. Yes. So we want to engage with those organisations and basically get the truth.
Ian, I think Cassia had something to say.
Yes, Cassia.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, Cassia.
Excellent. Hi. Well, I'd also like to echo the comments and the compliments. I think the committee, in the broadest sense, is doing a fabulous job. And oops, I just dropped something. Hang on. Yeah, and all power to you. Just a couple of little things that people may not be aware of. We've got some good news that Dr. Jonathan King, who some of you may or may not have heard of, who is a direct descendant of Governor King and the connection to Tomaree on the other side of, excuse me, the port, is ready, willing and able to come and speak to Tomaree Museum Association free of charge, and he is raring to go, and he's got books and the whole bit.
Adios.
Beg your pardon?
I said, great.
Yes, yes. So that's going to be very, very exciting. I also have just done just a little link where, I don't know if anyone knows, but Newcastle used to be called King's Town. And I just did some research, and it is actually based on Governor King. So it's just a fabulous, fabulous connection. Another thing is, in the background, we've been working on a Port Stephens Writers Festival. I'm involved with a small group. It's like herding cats, but if and when some funds become available, and someone is probably paid to organise these cats, we'll hopefully be able to have some sort of writers' festival in the future, even if it does start very small. The other thing is a suggestion has come through from the creative community to consider in future incorporating a creatives group and a creative working space, because creatives like to collaborate. So that could be a conversation with council and so on. And I've also got some good connections in with not only so much the Warramai, but the Myangal. And it's really important to understand that the local clan, the Myangal clan, there's a lot of very difficult, awkward, uncomfortable politics with the land council. So it's important that we liaise with the true knowledge holders locally. So that's it. Keep up the great work.
Okay, no, thanks very much for your words, Catherine. We'll talk about those issues afterwards. Nigel.
Yes, Ian. I'd just like everyone to know that Eco Network our website is undergoing a major revamp, and I mean a major revamp. It'll be completed probably in about a month or 6 weeks. We've also launched our first online newsletter, which is available. You can look at it now if you go to the website, econetworkps.org. When is the next pop-up museum?
It's going to be in the November to February period. That's the requirement of our grant.
Okay.
And we're looking at a venue at the moment. We're talking to the council about that. This is venue and a time. We'll be out announcing that and then actually trying to get more money to make it an even better event.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I'm just going to suggest that we're going to promote our newsletter widely. And as I said, we've just published our first one. We're working on the second one. The second one or the third one may interest TMA to promote the pop-up museum. I think it's another good avenue anyway.
Okay, no, that's excellent. Thank you. Thank you for that opportunity. Now I'll just finish up here. Ian Carling, have you got anything you'd like to add or comment? You're happy with the way things are going? A nod's fine. Thank you. And Johanna.
Ian, thanks. I'm going to have to leave you. Thank you very much.
Yes. No, thanks, Pat. And we're finishing now. We're winding up. But Johanna, everything's good? Thumbs up? Right.
Yep.
Right. We won't get comments from the rest of the committee. Thank you very much for your turning up. It's been great to see you all again. Survived COVID. Thank you, Alex, for setting all this up. Thank you, Ross, for your...
Ian?
Yes?
Ian, am I allowed to say something before we finish?
And Mary, that hand in the air did mean something.
Oh,
okay.
Good. Sorry. Thank you. I just want to say, because we're working on the two grants, the DVA grant and the AGL pop-up museum, but with the DVA grant, while we have everybody here, I just thought I'd like to sort of say, if anybody has any good contacts with defence veterans, either from, I think we'd be stretching it for World War II, but, even later than that with the Gangan facilities there, if anybody has any good memorabilia, knows anybody where we can have sort of do some interviews, things like that, that would be gratefully really good to add to our collection so that we can acquit our DVA grant. So just wanted to ask, anybody's got any good ideas, please send them through to us. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you, Mary. Okay. Goodbye all. Thank you. We'll see you in a month if you've got an opportunity. And certainly anyone who's got any other questions, contact Alex and I after this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.